Screen siren Marlene Dietrich's daughter met Rosemary Kennedy before her disastrous lobotomy, credited family for escape from World War II. Riva, the only child of screen siren Marlene Dietrich, met the Kennedy family in 1938 in the south of France, where both families had traveled for vacation. Marlene Dietrich's daughter, Maria Riva, who died October 30th at 100 years old, lived a life that spanned 2 centuries, a bridge to a time long gone. Riva was one of the few people who'd known Rosemary Kennedy, the eldest daughter of Joe Kennedy and his wife Rose Kennedy, before the tragic 1941 lobotomy that left her with the mental capacity of a toddler. In a 2020 interview, she discussed the day that they shared. Riva, the only child of screen siren Marlene Dietrich, met the Kennedy family in 1938 in the south of France, where both families had traveled on holiday. There were 9 youngsters, and because they all smiled and they looked joyful and they represented the country, it was something that everyone envied, recalled Riva, who was 15 years old at the time. I was a movie star's child, and she, Rosemary, was royalty. But she didn't know it, but I knew it. As Riva remembered, I was swimming with her siblings Bobby and Jack and Patricia at the Eden Rock Hotel, and I think somebody said, "Why don't we bring Dietrich's daughter over to Rosemary? Maybe they can get along." I guess maybe somebody had a great idea of maybe finding somebody to keep her company. I think nobody knew who to call for Rosemary to talk to, she stated. I thought it was a special reward for me, to be honest. She recalls Rosemary, 20, who was cognitively challenged, sitting alone on the beach under a tent to protect her skin while her siblings swam. She would puff up like a bee sting if she sat in the sun too long, recalled Riva. My only impression, and I think I said in the book, her 1991 memoir of her mother, Marlene Dietrich, A Life, was that she was not as beautiful and as perfect as her sisters Eunice or Patricia or Jean. I felt a kind of kindness towards her that I probably wouldn't have felt had she not looked different from her brothers and sisters. She said, it was the time when those things were important to people. She was the ugly duckling of a magnificent family, as Riva phrased it, before anything happened to her. These were brilliant, shiny, gorgeous people, full of life and vitality and Irish charm, if you want to make it Irish. I mean, it oozed from their shoulders charisma. After swimming with Bobby and Jack, she later joined the family for dinner. They were kind enough to accept me, she remarked. They were a family for me who did not have a family as per se, as we now think of family or what I call a Hallmark or Disney family. As she described it, they were utterly out of reach. They were also quite interesting because they were intellectual. I felt they were utter perfection, and I would have given anything to be part of them. She regarded JFK as having an Apollo quality. If you ever met Jack, you would absolutely follow him to the ends of the earth. However, she didn't term her relationship with the siblings a friendship, more so a summer acquaintance. I was embraced by the Kennedy children, Eunice and Patricia and Jean and Bobby, she recalled, but I recognized my place. I mean, being at the Kennedys for dinner? Fortunately, I'd been trained how many forks to use, because you represented your family by your behavior. So you had decent manners, and you spoke when you were addressed, but not before. I guess that I thought I was a fish out of water. I recall being uncomfortable, but then I was always uncomfortable when I was put in a position where I had to prove my good breeding. She also attributed Joe Kennedy Sr., who had an affair with her mother, with telling the celebrity to leave Germany before World War II broke out. It was a father who saved my life, basically, Riva stated. If he had not told my mother, get the heck out of Europe, at the time he did, I might have been stranded. And being Dietrich's daughter, undoubtedly Mr. Hitler would have enjoyed that. As she recalled, don't forget, in the summer of '38, only the really intelligent individuals realized what was coming. These were people who were summering in the most exclusive summer hotel that existed. But that was the acme of that kind of life that will never come again. It's a fascinating time when people think that they're in charge, and they're not. When Riva later learned of Rosemary's lobotomy, a decision taken by her father, she said, it wasn't my place to make a judgment. Once you're in that kind of terrible drama in a family, you cannot truly judge anything until God forbid it should happen to you. It's just too much tragedy.